Yashobhumi Convention Center. Recently, the Computer Emergency Response Team of India issued an alert for ransomware dubbed Akira. The Yashobhumi Convention Center. Covering over 73,000 square meters, the Yashobhumi boasts one of the world's largest MICE, which stands for Meetings, Incentives, Conferences and Exhibitions Facilities, and the country's largest LED media facade. With the capacity for 11,000 delegates, 15 convention rooms, innovative auditoriums that seats 6,000 and a grand ballroom for 2,000 guests. The PM is to dedicate to nation phase 1 of India International Convention and Expo Center called Yashobhumi at Dwarka, New Delhi on 17 September. Yashobhumi is a state-of-the-art convention center which was developed at a cost of around rupees 5,400 crore, boasts a magnificent convention center, multiple exhibition halls and other facilities. The Yashobhumi has received Green Cities Platinum certification for its environmentally friendly designs from CII's India Green Building Council. Karmika Bandhus. Karnataka government cancels services of Karmika Bandhus under Labour Department. Government has decided to revoke the services of Karmika Bandhus under the Labour Department due to irregularities and unsatisfactory work. They work on commission basis and numbers gradually dwindled to about 243 because of irregular work. About Karmika Bandhu. The concept of Karmika Bandhu was meant to help spread awareness about the services under the Karnataka Building and other construction workers welfare board at the rural level at Karmika Kendras. They were appointed by Karnataka Building and other construction workers welfare board. They work under the labor department. Their role was to facilitate unorganized workers to register themselves with the labor department and help them avail the government services. Services of Karmika Bandhus were functioning under the umbrella of Ambedkar Karmika Sahaya Hasta that encompasses all the welfare schemes for workers under the Labour Department. Kaveri Wildlife Sanctuary. Project Madhunetri was inaugurated recently in Bengaluru. A white sambar, leucistic sambar, was photographed in the Kaveri Wildlife Sanctuary during a research study on leopards early this year. Leucistic animals do not exhibit the characteristics pink eyes associated with albinism. A white form of sambar deer was previously recorded in Bandipur Tiger Reserve. Leucism is a condition in which the pigmentation of an animal's skin is missing, causing white or pale skin. Albinism is a condition that arises due to a lack of melatonin in the animal's skin. But the animal has pink or reddish eyes, but in leucism the animals lack the pink eyes. Kaveri Wildlife Sanctuary. It consists of reserve forests in Chamarajanagar, Ramnagar, Mandya districts of Karnataka. It was constituted in 1987 under the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. The river Kaveri forms the boundary of the sanctuary and also gives its name. Kaveri Wildlife Sanctuary supports a diversified aquatic fauna, predominant species being crocodiles, otters, humpbacked marsh fish. Habitats including dry deciduous forests, scrublands, grasslands, and riverine ecosystems. Let us also have a look at important wildlife sanctuaries of Karnataka, which are very important from the examination's point of view. Adi Chunchanagiri Peacock Sanctuary, Attiveri Bird Sanctuary, Bhadra Wildlife Sanctuary, Biligiri Rangana Temple Wildlife Sanctuary, Brahmagiri Wildlife Sanctuary, Daroji Bear Sanctuary, Ghataprabha Bird Sanctuary. Cyber Victims Day. Bengaluru Southeast Division Police has launched the Cyber Victims Day to raise awareness. In an effort to help the victims of cyber crimes and provide a platform to air their grievances, the Southeast Division of Bengaluru Police launched Cyber Victims Day on 31st August 2023. It provides platform to allow affected individuals to share their experiences in a non-judgmental environment and create a sense of awareness. According to the NCRB report of 2021, Karnataka was the third state with the highest number of cyber crimes, followed by Mumbai and Hyderabad. According to reports by Home Ministry, people of Karnataka lost a whopping 363 crore to cyber frauds in the year 2022, which averages very close to rupees 1 crore per day. Director General of Police (CID) reported that of the total police cases registered in Karnataka, over 20% are related to cybercrime. Note: India's first police station for cybercrimes was recently inaugurated at Bengaluru in Karnataka. Karnataka State Energy Efficiency Action Plan. According to recent report, more electric vehicles in Karnataka can result in energy savings, reduce greenhouse gas emissions. The report, prepared by Bureau of Energy Efficiency in association with Karnataka Renewable Energy Development Limited. The report has identified the top 5 energy consuming sectors in the state based on their total final energy consumption as of 2020. It includes industry, which contributes 49%, transport 26%, buildings 13%, agricultural 7%, and municipal around 5%. The study has considered increasing the share of EVs on the road, including two-wheelers, three-wheelers, cars, buses, and heavy vehicles across the state. It has set the target of EV penetration to 41 lakh vehicles by 2031. About Karnataka in Energy Efficiency Action Plan. This initiative is to draw out an action plan comes in the backdrop of PM's pledge at the Conference of Parties 26 in Glasgow to reduce India's projected carbon emissions by 1 billion tons by 2030. The State Energy Efficiency Action Plan is sought in two parts: a 5-year short term strategy and a long term plan aimed at high impact energy efficiency by 2031. All states and UTs are grouped into 6 zones for this assignment: Northeast, East, North 1, North 2, West, and the South. Note: Karnataka has bagged the first rank in State Energy Efficiency Index during 5-year 2019-2020 and 5-year 2021-22. The state ranks first in India in energy conservation. Pavgada Solar Park. The 2050 megawatt Pavgada Solar Park in Karnataka is going in for an expansion with a proposed capacity addition of 3000 megawatts. The existing park is producing 2000 megawatts of renewable energy. Pavgada is a solar park in Pavgada Taluk, Tumkur district, Karnataka. Pavgada, with highest solar radiation and the availability of land, the region receives very little rainfall. The region has been declared drought hit by the Karnataka government 54 times in the past 6 decades. It is world's third largest photovoltaic solar park after the Bhadla Solar Park in Rajasthan and Huanghe Hydropower Hainan Solar Park in China. Karnataka Solar Power Development Corporation Limited, a joint venture between Karnataka Renewable Energy Development and the Solar Energy Corporation of India, have established the plant. Asha Kiran Initiative. The Health Department of Karnataka, in collaboration with the National Program for Control of Blindness, has launched Asha Kirana. It is an initiative for door-to-door eye screening. The initiative, launched in Chikkaballapur, later launched in Kalaburgi, Haveri, and Chamarajnagara districts on September 4. The aim is to bridge the gap in accessibility to healthcare in impoverished and rural communities. Under the initiative, Ashas or health department personnel will visit all households to conduct preliminary eye screening and evaluate various parameters including eyesight. If identified with problems, they will undergo a secondary screening to identify specific conditions and refer to appropriate hospitals with the surgeries where they will be conducted for free of cost. India was the first country to launch the National Program for Control of Blindness in 1976. It was a 100% centrally sponsored program and it was launched by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. One Sun, One World, and One Grid. In the run up to the 18th G20 Summit, a day long conference on transnational grid interconnections for One Sun, One World, and One Grid was held in New Delhi on 6th of September 2023. Green Grids Initiative. One Sun, One World, One Grid is an initiative by the International Solar Alliance, India, France, and United Kingdom to build a global green energy grid primarily focusing on solar and wind energy. The vision behind the OSO-WOG initiative is the mantra that the sun never sets. The initiative aims to connect different regional grids through a common grid that will be used to transfer renewable energy power and thus realize the potential of renewable energy sources, especially solar energy. The idea for this initiative was first proposed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi during the Assembly of the International Solar Alliance in 2018. The Green Grids initiative was launched by the United Kingdom. The initiative intends to create a framework for international collaboration on the optimal use of renewable resources to ensure that clean and efficient energy is a reliable alternative for all countries to meet their energy requirements by 2030. At the Conference of Parties 26 Climate Summit held in Glasgow in 2021, both initiatives were launched together by India and the UK as a part of bilateral cooperation in partnership with the International Solar Alliance and the World Bank Group. The OSOWOG is divided into three main phases. In the first phase, the Indian grid would be connected to the grids of Middle East, South Asia, Southeast Asia to develop a common grid. This grid would then be used to share solar energy as per need in addition to renewable energy resources. The second phase would connect the functional first phase to the pool of renewable resources in Africa. The third phase would look at achieving true global interconnection. The idea will be to integrate as many countries as possible to create a single power grid of renewable energy. This can then be accessed by all other countries. Global Biofuels Alliance. Prime Minister Narendra Modi recently announced the launch of the Global Biofuels Alliance. It is a total of 19 countries and 12 international organizations have so far agreed to join the alliance, including both G20 members and non-member countries. Apart from India, Brazil and the US, the other G20 member countries supporting the initiative are Argentina, Canada, Italy and South Africa. Bangladesh, Singapore, Mauritius and the UAE are the G20 invitee countries. The non G20 interested in joining the alliance are Iceland, Kenya, Guyana, Paraguay, Seychelles, Sri Lanka, and Uganda and Finland. Important organizations associated with the Global Biofuels Alliance include World Bank, Asian Development Bank, World Economic Forum, World LPG Organization, UN Energy for All, UNIDO, Biofutures Platform, International Civil Aviation Organization, International Energy Agency, International Energy Forum, International Renewable Energy Agency, World Biogas Association. China and oil producers Saudi Arabia and Russia have, however, decided not to be part of the alliance. The founding members are India, Brazil, and the US. The three founding members of the alliance, the US, India, and Brazil, contribute about 85% of the global production and the 81% of the consumption of ethanol. What is the purpose of this alliance? Member countries intend to facilitate cooperation on a voluntary basis in intensifying the use of sustainable biofuels through strengthening collaboration between producers, consumers, and interested countries, bolstering biofuels markets, and encouraging the development of standards in the sector. The focus is on setting up at par with the International Solar Alliance. The Biofuel Alliance's focus is on accelerated adoption of biofuels. BES Invasive Alien Species Assessment. The Intergovernmental Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services, short for IPBES, assessment report on invasive alien species and their control, which is known as the Invasive Alien Species Report, was released recently by the United Nations Environment Programme. The report was approved in Bonn, Germany by the representatives of the 143 member states of IPBES. Let us now look at the key findings of the report. More than 37,000 alien species have been introduced by many human activities to regions and biomes around the world. The report also reveals that, alongside dramatic changes to biodiversity and ecosystems, the global economic cost of the invasive alien species exceeded $423 billion annually in 2019, with costs having at least quadrupled every decade since 1970. More than 3,500 of these are harmful invasive alien species, seriously threatening nature's contributions to people, and good quality of life. Too often ignored until it is too late, invasive alien species are a significant challenge to people in all regions and in every country. Target 6 of the recently adopted Kunming Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework is to eliminate, minimize, reduce, and or mitigate the impacts of invasive alien species on biodiversity and ecosystem services. The IPBES Invasive Alien Species Assessment responds to the need to support decision makers in the understanding the current status and trends of invasive alien species, their impacts, their drivers, management, and options for policy that effectively deal with the challenges they pose. Coronal mass ejections. NASA's Parker probe recently soared gracefully through one of the most powerful coronal mass ejections ever recorded. What are coronal mass ejections? They are massive plasma and magnetic field expulsions from the sun's corona that propagate into interplanetary space. The sun emits a massive amount of material, including electrons, protons, and heavier ions, as well as magnetic fields during a CME. This material is expelled at great speeds into the space. The causes: CMEs are typically caused by the sun's magnetic fields becoming unstable. The precise causes are, however, unknown, although they frequently include the reconfiguration or rupture of magnetic loops on the sun's surface. CMEs are separate from solar flares, though they frequently occur in tandem. Solar flares are brief bursts of energy and radiation where CMEs are caused by the evacuation of solar material. If you look at the key features of CMEs, there is a wide range of plasma temperatures within CMEs, from cold chromospheric material, which is around 104 K, to hot plasma, which is around 107 K. When the CMEs propagate, several processes can exchange energy in the form of electrical, kinetic, potential, thermal, and so on, thereby heating or cooling the plasma. However, understanding the CMEs will help our ability to monitor space weather. Let us now look at the impact of CMEs on Earth. Firstly, geomagnetic storms can occur as a result of the interaction of the CME's magnetic fields with the Earth's magnetosphere. These have the potential to interfere with satellite communications, navigation systems, and even the power grids. By energizing the particles in the Earth's atmosphere, CMEs can generate beautiful displays of the northern and southern lights, which are popularly known as the auroras. During a CME event, astronauts in space or passengers on high altitude flights may be exposed to significant doses of radiations. Exoplanet K2-18b. Why was it in news? Recently, NASA's James Webb Telescope have found signs of life on a distant exoplanet K2-18b. It detected the presence of a molecule known as dimethyl sulfide, which is a substance only produced by life. Dimethyl sulfide is a molecule that is typically produced by living organisms on Earth. In addition to DMS, methane and carbon dioxide have been identified in K2-18b's atmosphere. This raises the possibility of the existence of a water ocean on the distant exoplanet. This marks the first time astronomers have detected the potential presence of DMS on a planet orbiting a distant star. Let us now look at the key characteristics of K2-18b. Located over 1.1 million billion kilometers away from Earth and has a hydrogen rich atmosphere. About exoplanets. Exoplanets or extrasolar planets are celestial bodies that orbit stars outside of our solar system. The first confirmed exoplanet 51 Pegasi b was first discovered in 1995 by Swiss astronomers Michael Mayer and Didier Queloz. Important exoplanets include Kepler 186f HD 2094-58b, nicknamed Osiris, Corot 7b, Kepler 22b, 55 Cancri. Classification of exoplanets. It is based on their characteristics. First one is hot Jupiters. They are large gas giants located close to their host stars. Next come super Earths, exoplanets that are more massive than Earth but less massive than Neptune. Next, terrestrial exoplanets. These are rocky planets similar in composition to Earth. We have exomoons, which are moons orbiting the exoplanets. What then is a habitable zone or Goldilocks zone? The region around a star where conditions may be suitable for liquid water and life. Nipah virus. The Nipah virus has made a resurgence in Kerala with two fatalities. It is a zoonotic virus, meaning it is transmitted from animals to humans. The organism that causes Nipah virus encephalitis is an RNA or ribonucleic acid virus. It first broke out in Malaysia and Singapore in the year 1998 and 1999. The disease is named after a village in Malaysia, Sungai Nipah, in 1998, where it was first detected. It first appeared in domestic pigs and domestic animals, including dogs, cats, goats, horses, and sheep. The disease spreads through fruit bats or flying foxes, which are hosts of Nipah virus. The symptoms include fever, headache, drowsiness, mental confusion, coma, and potentially death. Currently, there are no vaccines for both humans as well as animals. In this context, from the UPSC, KPSC, CTI examination point of view, you need to know the key features of viral diseases, mainly hepatitis, AIDS, and influenza. Viruses are acellular biological agents. They do not have cellular structure or organelles. So, they are parasitic in nature and require the cellular machinery of the host cell to replicate. Living inside the host and non living outside the host are connecting links between living and non living organisms. Viruses can have either RNA or DNA as their genetic material. DNA and RNA molecules can be double stranded or single stranded, linear or circular. Viruses can infect a wide variety of organisms, plants, animals, bacteria, etc. Omega block. Why was it in use? According to a study, recent floods in the Mediterranean regions were caused by low pressure systems forming around an omega block centered over the Netherlands. What is a block in meteorology? Blocks in meteorology are large scale patterns in the atmospheric pressure field that are nearly stationary, effectively blocking or redirecting migratory cyclones. They are also known as blocking highs or blocking anticyclones. Omega block is a high pressure pattern that blocks and diverts the jet stream, allowing a mass of hot air to flow up from the northern Africa and Iberian Peninsula. The block occurs when two low pressure systems become cut off from the main flow of the jet stream, sandwiching a high pressure system between them. It resembles a Greek letter U on a weather map. Omega blocking events have also been linked to other extreme weather events in the past, including Pakistan floods in 2011, 2019 heat waves during May in France and July in Germany, etc. What are Rex blocks? Rex blocks, also called as dipole blocks, consist of a high situated poleward that is north in the northern hemisphere, south in the southern hemisphere of a low. Very often, both the high and low are closed, meaning that the isobars defining the high-low close to form a circle. Rex blocks are named after the meteorologist who first identified them. Global Symposium on Farmer Rights. Why was it in use? The International Treaty on Plant Genetic Resources for Food and Agriculture hosted a global symposium on farmers' rights, which was inaugurated by the President of India. The objective of symposium is to place a strong emphasis on farmers' rights as its central theme. This focus underscores the importance of recognizing and safeguarding the rights of farmers, ensuring that they have the necessary legal, economic, and social protections to support their livelihoods and contributions to agriculture. The International Treaty on Plant Genetic Resources for Food and Agriculture, in short, ITP-GRFA. It is a legally binding comprehensive agreement adopted in November 2001 at Rome during the 31st session of the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, which entered into force on June 29, 2004 and currently has 149 contracting parties including India. The treaty provides solutions to achieve food and nutritional security as well as climate resilient agriculture. Countries are interdependent for PGRFA and consequently a global order is essential to facilitate access and benefit sharing. It formally acknowledges the enormous contribution of indigenous people and smallholder farmers as traditional custodians of the world's food crops. The treaty was aimed at recognizing the significant contribution of farmers to the diversity of crops that feed the world, establishing a global system to provide farmers, plant breeders, and scientists with access to plant genetic materials, ensuring that recipients share benefits they derive from the use of these genetic materials with the countries where they have originated. Protection of Plant Varieties and Farmers' Rights Act 2001. It aims to protect farmers and breeders' rights. According to the Act, a farmer is entitled to save, use, sow, resow, exchange, share, or sell his farm produce, including seed of a variety protected under the PPV and FR Act 2001, except the brand name. The Act is compliant to Article 9 of the Seed Treaty. Under the provisions of this Act, 138 farmers or farming communities have been awarded with the Plant Genome Severe Awards by the Protection of Plant Varieties and Farmers' Right Authority. Welcome back to Care Magazine, and in this podcast we shall have a look at some of the important international events which took place in the month of October and September 2023. Firstly, we have Kampala Declaration. Why was it in news? A total of 48 African countries have now agreed to adopt the Kampala Ministerial Declaration on Migration, Environment and Climate Change, in short KDMECC. The declaration addresses the nexus of human mobility and climate change in the continent. The event was co-hosted by the governments of Kenya and Uganda with support from the International Organization for Migration and the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. The aim is to enable the African states to develop a common position ahead of the African Climate Summit and the Conference of Parties 28. The KDMECC Africa is expected to be signed by member states during the Africa Climate Summit, which is to be held in Nairobi in the month of September 2023. But why Africa has to sign this declaration? See, there were over 7.5 million new internal disaster displacements last year alone, according to a 2023 report by the Internal Displacement Monitoring Center. If nothing is done, as many as 1.5 million people could become internal migrants within the Africa continent alone. Kampala, it is the capital and the largest city of Uganda. Please note, the Nairobi Declaration was adopted to be the basis for Africa's common position in the global climate change process to COP28. Africa Climate Summit ended with Nairobi Declaration, which makes strong push for the accelerated climate action and financing mechanisms.